As if the McCrispy couldn't get any better, Bacon and Ranch just entered the chat. The Bacon Ranch McCrispy, available at participating McDonald's for a limited time. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Scott for Scots here. You ever want to grow new grass faster? Kind of like when you press the 2 times playback button on your podcast so you can speed through episodes. Except at Scott's Turf Builder Rapid Grass, you're speeding your way from a thin and damaged lawn to a thicker, stronger one in just weeks. Bit too fast, maybe slow it down. Okay, let's just go back to normal speed.
Get a bag of Scott's Turf Builder Rapid Grass today. It grows grass 2 times faster than seed alone when applied at the new lawn rate, subject to proper care.
Feed your lawn. Feed it.
Welcome to the family here on Purple Mafia. I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Purple Mafia is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podman, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Audible, Stitcher, Double Twist, all those wonderful applications you can use on your smart devices. It is a great pleasure to be back on board with you once again today. Thank you always for downloading and listening to this show. As the Minnesota Vikings are now eliminated from the postseason, and the end is near. That's right, the end is near. Green Bay 37, Minnesota 10. And of course, if you were living in a cave, you didn't know that Kirk Cousins didn't play. Sean Mannion was the starting quarterback, and it was about what you'd expect from Sean Mannion. Yeah, it's over, Johnny. It's over, Johnny. And I don't mean the Vikings season. The Vikings season felt like it was over after the Cowboys game. A lot of people would go back to that one. Is Kellen Mond a quarterback you could count on in the future? Who knows? Let's hear what Mike Zimmer had to say after the game in terms of basically everything. I mean, just get the mood from Mike Zimmer of how much longer he's going to be with Minnesota.
Okay, disappointing tonight. I didn't feel like we gave ourselves a chance to win. First half kind of got away from us, time of possession. We didn't move the ball at all. Got away from the running game way too soon. And then second half, we didn't play well enough defensively. So give them credit. They're a good team, and they got after us tonight.
Or did something happen with Sean?
Yeah, something happened with Sean.
Did Mond, when he came out, was he injured after that one series?
No.
So you put Mannion back in. What was the reason to put Mannion back in?
Because Mannion was the guy who was going to play today.
So did he leave due to an injury for one series, Mannion?
Yes.
What was the injury?
I don't remember.
Just your thoughts on being eliminated from the playoffs second year in a row. And
I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Well, I thought it was kind of a disappointing season.
Yeah.
Did you agree with that?
Yeah, pretty good. Appreciate your thoughts.
Mike, you mentioned getting away from the running game too soon. Why do you think the running game didn't work like we've seen in some other games?
I don't think we stuck with it enough, to be honest with you. I mean, got away from it. You know, I talked to him about, hey, we got to give Dalvin the ball. First play of the possession, we get a sack. Second and 16, so.
Mike, I know Peterson started shadowing Adams in the second half. Why not do it in the first half?
Well, we talked about it during the game, and we were going to have basically have him double covered, and we did a couple times. He still caught the ball.
How much did the offensive game plan end up changing with Sean at quarterback?
Not really any. I mean, for the most part, it was all the same.
How come you think he struggled to push the ball down the field?
I don't know. I couldn't tell, the coverage in there, what they were doing, but they had a lot of soft coverage tonight.
The team maybe not coming out with enough energy. Did you feel the energy was there at the start, or was it the same issue as last?
No, they were energy. There was a lot of energy tonight.
We can all guess how you're feeling. Can you put into words how you're feeling right now after everything?
No, maybe after next week.
Do you think you want to get a look at Mond next week?
Not particularly.
don't you want to get a look at him?
I see him every day.
So would you, if Cousins is good to go, would he go back out there next week? Or
Pardon me?
if Cousins is cleared from the COVID list, would he start next week then?
I don't know. We'll talk about next week.
Mike, that first third down, you had I think Darasol was downfield and ineligible. What did you see there? It seems like that was a 24-yard gain. We got into Packers territory.
It was a boot, and he just drifted downfield too far. Good, Bob. Thank you.
We'll talk about that next week. Yeah, next week. I see him every day. Yeah, Kellen Mond. Some people took it as like it's just a huge shot at Kellen Mond. It kind of is, but it's also just like he's not ready to play in the NFL. I don't think he is either, unfortunately. I wish he was. Tavares Jackson wasn't when we first put him out there. Christian Ponder wasn't when the Vikings first put him out there. It is what it is. I think he's another one of those. Another Tavares, another Christian Ponder. I don't see Kellen Mond as anything great, but who knows? Maybe he will be. Maybe it just give him a little time. I mean, Aaron Rodgers sat on the bench for 3.5, 4 years, right? And then he looked good right away and kept getting better and better and better as the years progressed. Heck, 2 years later, he won a Super Bowl. Right after we were all like, we got Brett Favre from you, na boo boo. We got Brett Favre from the Packers, ha ha. And then who ended up winning a Super Bowl the year after? Oh God, that's as that's as Vikings Green Bay as it gets, isn't it? Yeah, it is what it is. Why can't we have nice things? I don't know. Minnesota Wild Hockey Winter Classic. They give up 5 goals in the second period. Check out Brave the Wild. We'll be talking about that. The newest show will come out Thursday, but do check out the most recent one. It was pretty fun. I enjoyed it. Hope you do as well. Brave the Wild podcast. Yeah, sorry for shameless plugs during this show. This is an unreviewable game for the most part. Nice to see KJ Osborne get in the end zone. He looked pretty good out there. Garrett Bradbury also with a 21-yard reception. See what happened was they sent him down the field, and he was able to catch the ball. He was able to catch the ball. It was a trick play. It was really fun. No, it was just a deflection from Tyler Conklin, who I thought had a nice game as well. Early on, he should have had more yards, but unfortunately, he stepped out of bounds on a play. So that's the Minnesota Vikings. That's the kind of season it was. CJ Ham could have had a couple plays, but whatever. This offense is just, you could say all you want about, Sean Mannion's limited and all that. Of course, they're not going to try to make any, they're not going to try to make any dynamic plays with Sean Mannion at quarterback. He actually did show a little bit of an arm. Last time against Chicago, Sean Mannion looked like he couldn't play for high school. I mean, he didn't look like even college material. Where this game, at least you saw a bit of an arm. But he can't play. Sean Mannion can't play. And there's no accuracy. And that's what happens when you have a quarterback taking up too much space on the cap. You can't sign a backup quarterback that's worth anything. You just can't. It's a terrible situation in that sense. The Minnesota Vikings have to move on from all three. Who are the big three? I think we all know, but just in case you don't, Rick Spielman, Mike Zimmer, Kirk Cousins, they all got to go. It's got to be we got to start over in that sense. It's obviously not blowing up everything, but it's blowing up the leadership. Blow up the leadership. It's over, Johnny. It's over. We're not in Kansas anymore, Toto. Yeah, whatever the heck. It's time, though. It's time. I mean, is Kellen Mond a career backup? Probably. Could he become a starter? Maybe. Should the Vikings draft a quarterback? Hell yes. Hell yes. And if Kellen Mond ends up winning, may the best man win. So be it, Jedi. It's that simple. So be it. Justin Jefferson, you feel sorry for him. KJ Osborne, again, good game. Justin Jefferson ended up leading the team with 58 yards on 6 catches. It always feels like it should be much more because obviously just poor execution, poor design, this and that. It was check down Charlie, and that's just how it was. It's 3rd and 20, and you go for a 2-yard play or just a quick little run up the middle. It's like, whatever. Just wave the white flag. That's all you got to do. Just send the punter out on 3rd down from now on. Just send the punter out on 3rd down because we're just going to, if it's 3rd and long, just put the punter out. What's the point? We're not going to try anyway. Oh, it's 3rd and 15? Just go on out there, Mr. Barry. Come on, Jordan Berry. Go out and punt. Just go out and punt. You have one job, Jordan. Boy, did he have a job security yesterday. 6 punts at 50 yards. Well, 49.3 and one in the 20, no touchbacks. Good job. Corey, whatever his name is, Corey B. On Green Bay had a pretty lousy game and whatever. I'm sure they're really down about it over there. Kellen Mond. That might be a good combination, but let's get a coach in here that actually gives a crap about quarterbacks, as you could hear in the Mike Zimmer soundbite. I don't get the vibe like he gives two craps about quarterbacks. I don't think anybody has felt that way since the day he got here. And why isn't the season over right now? What's the point? I like this. 10-6, 9-7, 9-7, 13-3, even though it sucks seeing Green Bay as 13-3, but they're 13-3, you know. Yep. I like the 16-game record, 16-game schedule with the record set up the way they were, pardon me. I'm going to miss that. The 17th game is stupid, even though it can bring a little drama in, like the Los Angeles Rams, the Tampa Bay Bucks, the Dallas Cowboys. Who's going to, where's the seed going to be? Arizona's staying alive, all that nonsense. Believe it or not, Arizona still has a shot at winning their division and being possibly a number two, not number one, but a 2 or 3 seed moving forward. Nah, they're not going to be. I think Tampa's probably going to wind up with it, but we'll find out. Green Bay Packers have a very good chance of hosting the entire NFC playoffs and NFC championship game and, going to the Super Bowl and maybe winning it this time, or maybe KC wins. But it looks like two freight trains, cruising at each other at warp speed to the Super Bowl, Kansas City and Green Bay, even though Kansas City lost yesterday. We'll talk about that in segment number 2. But it is time to start over in terms of the big three. This team needs better leadership. Absolutely needs better leadership. This was an unrevealable game, as I'll just keep saying. There was just no life, and of course there wasn't. And the whole game, like Zimmer just kind of had that look, like, I don't really want to be here anymore. I got a feeling it's going to be a mutual parting of ways. I mean, did that sound like a coach that really wants to be here anymore? Or he's just ready to move on regardless? He's resigned to the fact that it's over? Because that's the vibe I got right away. Even last week, you kind of felt that. This week, it's like, yeah, forget it. The last thing you want is excuses like, yes, Kirk Cousins was out with the whole COVID thing and all that. I'm not going to get too deep into that. All the Cousins bashing and all that, I don't agree with it. I think, it's, again, I believe you have the right to choose if you're going to take a vaccine or not. That's just the way I see the world. Also, if it's the Omicron virus, it's more contagious. That's why more players have COVID-19 supposedly, but it's more like it's more like cold symptoms at this stage. Cold symptoms with maybe a little extra. The severity of it is much less, and you will hear that from both sides of the aisle. I believe I mentioned that on last week's show, though a lot of you have probably done your own research and heard like a million different things in the news over the course of time, but it's not as severe. It's getting to a point where it's basically a cold. So eventually, where do we draw the line between COVID protocols and just, he's not feeling well? You know what I mean? Yeah. Eventually, I think we're heading to that point. We shall see. But at least games haven't been canceled, or postponed and such. Like the NHL's been going crazy about it, and other hockey tournaments and all that. World Junior Championships. Very sad, and all that. So, yeah. NHL leaving the Olympics, which I understand that. That's in a lot of ways they probably should have anyway. But where am I going with this? Completely off track. That's where it's kind of like I'm almost saying the same thing Dennis Green that Mike Zimmer said. We'll wait till next week. Like, we'll just kind of wait till next week in terms of, and I better monitor my phone or any type of smart device right now, because you never know if news is going to break as I'm doing this on Monday morning. At least this segment. Let's check, make sure. I'm paranoid now. I better delete ones that are old news. So in case something new pops up, yeah, who cares? These are all like yesterday. But it's almost like kind of like wait till next week. Like Mike Zimmer kept saying, I'm almost kind of saying the same thing. Like, what am I going to really say about the game? That we just, we're just, we're like light years away. Kind of like when Christian Ponder started against the Packers and we lost 45-7. Remember that? It's like you want to be a championship team and you're millions of miles away from it. Millions. That's what it feels like. Even when you have talent on the roster. It's endless frustration and sadness for all of us. Obviously, the strategy, the elder conservative style, you're never going to win a championship that way. general manager that's going off in all different directions. It took him like 9 years to get a couple of good offensive tackles. It's taken him his entire tenure to find a good guard. He really hasn't. Ezra Cleveland's a tackle who's playing guard. He's doing okay. Ole Udo is all over the place. I don't know what he is. He's just a late round pick, and he's just okay. Probably good enough to be on an NFL roster. After that, I don't know. A backup at best. Other guys are high-priced veterans that probably should move on as well, unfortunately. Anthony Barr actually had a really respectable year. I'm giving him a little hand. For the first time in, since he was drafted, I actually like Anthony Barr again. For the first time since he was drafted. Kind of like how I felt about Greenway. I always thought he was overrated too. I know a lot of you might be rolling your eyes about that one, but I thought he was a little overrated. He had a good final couple years with Minnesota at the end of the day. You probably should get a better center if you can. Obviously, Garrett Bradbury, I don't think he's first-round talent. He was a great college center. Has not translated to the NFL very well, even though he was able to catch a deflection from Tyler Conklin that could have been an interception, a Warren Moon interception. All those deflections from Kadre Ishmael that winded up going to Green Bay Packer players or whoever. The first pass of Warren Moon's tenure with Minnesota was an interception due to a tip pass from Kadre Ishmael to a Packer defender. This and that. Is there even a Fran Tarkington award for this episode? Is it Garrett Bradbury because he was able to make a catch? And he was okay in the game. He wasn't that bad. I don't know. Greg Joseph made a 51-yarder and he made his extra point. We appreciate that very much. Kenny Nwangwu did return a kick 37 yards. That's cool. No sacks by anybody in the game. Eric Kendricks was good at times and not so good at others. Seemed a little too chill at the end of the day. A lot of them seemed a little too chill and kind of resigned to the fact that it's just Green Bay's miles ahead and we're not going anywhere. It's sad, frustrating. Kind of is what it is. I mean, it's like you're glad that there's clarity here. We're not going to just mess around and pretend like we're still going to keep the same regime together. We got to be heading in the other direction at the end of the day. I don't know if I want to give anybody a Fran Tarkington award for this episode. Maybe Anthony Barr, maybe Eric Kendricks, maybe. It's just everybody got beat, and the offense was what it was. Should I give it to Justin Jefferson for just the fact he worked his ass off, did his best? KJ Osborne, who was actually really solid, made some big plays. KJ Osborne's going to get his second Fran Tarkington award. It's not glitz and glamour. It's kind of a faded one. I'm sorry, it's kind of faded. Maybe a little bit of bronze on it instead of gold, that kind of thing. Maybe some silver. But KJ Osborne will bring home the Fran Tarkington award for this episode. Conversations are going to start about new general manager, new coach of this team. I do believe, and again, I'm still monitoring this as close as possible. I'll do my best to keep up with it. Because anything could happen. Anything could happen. It's a Black Monday before Black Monday. You know what I mean? It's the week before, and things happen. And you probably do want to get ahead. They have to. Obviously, they do have to blow up they have to get rid of the general manager, and I think they have to do it at the same time. You're not going to obviously fire Zim first, and then, we got to get rid of Spielman as well, because you don't want Spielman to have any conversation with any coach or any kind. A lot of people would like to see Doug Peterson as coach of the Vikings. Kellen Moore, Dallas Cowboys offensive coordinator. He's going to be a hot commodity, no question about it. And will it be Kellen and Kellen? Will it be the Kellen and Kellen show a couple years from now as Kellen Mond continues to get better? Because Vikings, they got to hire. I mean, after they hire a coach and general manager first, of course, they got to obviously draft a quarterback to possibly compete with Mond long term, and of course sign a veteran of some kind. A Matt Castle type, or maybe somebody much better. You just never know. Maybe surprise of the decade. Maybe you bring in somebody like really big time, like a Russell Wilson. Aaron Rodgers will not be suiting up for the Vikings next year. There's almost no chance. Odds are the Packers will probably keep him. Otherwise, he's going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Vikings will not be getting Ben Roethlisberger. He's going to retire. Other possible veteran names out there. We'll get to that later. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, as Mike Zimmer used to say when we used to like him more. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. with all that. General manager possibilities, I'm not I'm not ultra prepared to offer any good candidates at the moment. And I'm hoping and praying that the Vikings are ready to bring those type of guys on board. The Christian Ponder Memorial, it's kind of like everybody. I don't know. It's kind of everybody. It's kind of like Zimmer with the rotten attitude. Spielman with the poor leadership. Kirk Cousins, not a good teammate, and it has nothing to do with the COVID vaccine. He's not a good teammate. Say what you want about the vaccine and this and that, but it's not about that. It's about he never really was a good teammate before any COVID vaccine, and he's selfish and all that. It's about he was not a good teammate before. Zimmer was not a good teammate either. Let's be honest. Is Mike Zimmer a good teammate? Or is he just focused on one part of the ball, and he's just a natural coordinator? It seems like every coach we hire is a bleeping coordinator, doesn't it? Doesn't it, though? I mean, was Leslie Frazier like a real coach? No. Nice guy. Good Christian guy. Nice guy. Good coach? No. Childress was an offensive coordinator. The offensive coordinator with a bad attitude, quite frankly. Tice was something. He was cool. I liked him. He was more like a podcast radio host or something than anything else. A former player, a big lug with a cool New York accent, and I loved the guy I loved him. But was he a good coach? Yes, no. Position coach, coordinator, head coach. Dennis Green. I'm gonna tell you, Mike Zimmer as an offensive coach. He was the Zimmer of offense. Because what happened to the Vikings defense when he was the coach? It was all offense, all offense, all offense. Right? Don't you remember? Don't you remember that? When he was hired, actually, the team was pretty balanced with some talent on the offense and a fantastic defense from the late 80s into the early 90s, from the Jerry Burnsy era, the Burnsy era. Burnsy was an offensive coordinator, and he was actually a pretty decent coach. I think the Vikings have had two real coaches, really, since 1961. Bud Grant and Jerry Burns. I think that's it. Jerry Burns was a decent coach. He was crazy. He was an offensive mind, but he was balanced enough. I mean, look how good the defense was. But the offense was still pretty good, too. He didn't hire a good coordinator, as many people would argue. But, God, it's frustrating. Every coach is going to lean one way or another. And as long as you hire a legitimate coordinator on the other side of the ball, you have a chance. Obviously, Zimmer did a great job of that early on. But it just never worked. It just never seemed to work. He never seemed to work well with the coordinators. There's a reason why Norv Turner just up and quit. You know, Pat Shurmur was a good duo, but Pat Shurmur got hired with the Giants and did absolutely nothing and was gone in 2 years. Stefanski's been disappointing with the Cleveland Browns. It's just a damn shame, isn't it? It's just a damn shame how all this has turned out. Would have been nice to have Kevin Stefanski still as a coordinator. Maybe he's just a coordinator. Or maybe he could have been the head coach and pray for the best. It is what it is. But Dennis Green was one-sided too. Don't forget that. He had some great seasons. He had a bad attitude too, though. And if you don't think Dennis Green had a bad attitude, I think you're a little crazy. I think you're looking at things the wrong way if you don't think he had a rotten attitude most of the way. First couple of years, everything was cool. 95, 96, when the honeymoon started to go away because he couldn't win a freaking playoff game, the attitude started coming out and he started accusing people of something. Started getting a little divisive. Let's just leave it at that. So, hope and pray the Minnesota Vikings can find a coach that could take this team in the right direction. Doug Peterson, Byron Leftwich, Eric Bieniemy, Kellen Moore. Would I complain about any of those four? Probably not. I think I'd be pretty ready to go. Peterson's won a Super Bowl. Eric Bieniemy's won a Super Bowl as an offensive coordinator. And obviously he was a running back, so a lot of people might be afraid he might be a running like a run-heavy guy, but maybe not. Obviously, it kind of depends who your quarterback is, doesn't it? If you have Patrick Mahomes, I think you're going to make some adjustments with your offensive style. So that's hope with Eric Bieniemy if he ends up being head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. Crazy to think he was the running backs coach for Minnesota in the NFC Championship game 2009, and he's the guy you hear when Antoine Winfield was saying, hey, you got too many men in there. And then Eric Bieniemy is the guy you hear going, no, because Nefahu Tayi went out there. He went out there incorrectly. Some type of just as Minnesota as it gets, that he was confused. He thought it was a package that involved the fullback. So there were too many men out there, and the Vikings chances of going to that Super Bowl suddenly dipped a bit with a 5-yard penalty, and next thing you know, Favre over the middle, intercepted. I can't believe what I'm seeing right now. Yeah, that kind of thing. So, I don't know. It's a little bit of a somber game review. Packers versus Vikings. It is what it is. We're resigned to where we are. We are out. We are eliminated. It's game over. But at the same time, we're relieved in a lot of ways that we're not going to be teased anymore, and that there is hopefully going to be a change at all three positions. And that as long as they get rid of Rick Spielman, that will probably ensure that it will be a change at all three positions, unless the general manager and coach believe they can get the most out of Kirk Cousins for another couple of years or something, and obviously develop Kellen Mond or quarterback du jour in the draft 2022 will take over, generally speaking. Christian Ponder Memorial, is it Mannion? Is it anybody? No, it's the leadership. It's the general leadership of the Minnesota Vikings until further notice. There was nobody out there that was that bad, generally speaking, that was so much worse than everybody else. You know what I mean? It was just overall a bad, depressing situation. And that's all there is to say. With that said, we'll take a quick break. We'll preview the season finale, look around the league with some pretty epic games in segment numero dos. And we are back here on Purple Mafia, segment number 2. Time to look around the league, and of course the NFC North and such. Green Bay Packers are division champions, kings of the North, and all that good stuff. There's no competition in the NFC North. There really isn't. Green Bay Packers, congratulations and good luck, I guess. Yeah, I like Aaron Rodgers more than I used to. I couldn't stand the guy, but just like I couldn't stand Brett Favre for so long. But as guys get older and they start passing for records, you just start appreciating them more and more. Buffalo Bills, Atlanta Falcons. Buffalo Bills, Atlanta Falcons, as Thursday Night Football is over, as we're heading into that Saturday stuff all the way through the divisional round of the postseason, which is fun stuff. I like it this way better. Buffalo Bills are now 10-6, so it's kind of sad to think of, imagine it's a 16-game season. Buffalo Bills would be 10-6, Vikes would be 7-9, Atlanta Falcons would be 7-9. We're with Atlanta. Just a culture of mediocrity in Atlanta now. Just like here at the moment. We'll see if that changes. But Buffalo kind of like 10-6 when they were a team I saw as a Super Bowl champion this year, ending the drought for the Buffalo Bills in the city of Buffalo with the Sabres and such, winning a championship this year. It could still happen. Don't forget the Denver Broncos went on the road. They won their 3 games, got to the Super Bowl, and beat a pretty damn good Green Bay team in the 2007 season to win the Super Bowl. Josh Allen sucked, you know what. He was awful. He was horrendous. Quarterback rating of 17, and they still won. He's wearing the number 17, but he threw multiple interceptions. In fact, 3 of them, 1 in the interception. He just stunk the whole game. Devin Singletary was good. A couple of touchdowns. Josh Allen did run for 2 touchdowns, so his athletic side took over because his passing game was not good. Atlanta's defense is better than it was before, obviously. Cole Beasley, who would agree with some of us about the vaccine, I suppose. He had a mediocre game. Stephon Diggs, mediocre, but Josh Allen stunk the whole game. So what are you going to say? Several sacks, though, by that Buffalo defense. Congratulations, Leslie Frazier. Again, a very good defensive coordinator, better than a coach. At least 5 sacks in the game. Good job, Buffalo Bills, getting the job done versus the Falcons. 10-6 at the moment. They still have a shot at winning the division, if you can believe it. 29-15, a fairly easy win over Atlanta despite an awful game by Josh Allen. It actually makes Atlanta look even worse than they are. Chicago over an even worse New York Giants team. They're just as bad as the Jets, frankly. 4-12, they suck. Bears 29-3, 6-10, but yeah, 6-10. It's like, that's a team that's just like, fire the coach and move on as well. Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, finally returned. Mediocre at best. Mike Glennon with a quarterback rating of 5.3. He attempted 11 passes and threw in 2 interceptions. It doesn't get much worse. Saquon Barkley, also a good game. It was one of the other red, white, and blue New York teams that kicked off in the Super Bowl 30 years ago. Giants and Buffalo Bills, both the quarterbacks had awful games, and the running backs helped make up for it. And that's about it there. Bears, nice, easy win for them. Congratulations, Chicago, for whatever reason. Yay. I mean, it's going to bring momentum into next season. No, it isn't. But we'll see. Maybe with a better coach. Maybe Doug Peterson will be their coach. Jacksonville could be the coach. That could be where Doug Peterson's going. They're already talking to him, supposedly. That's why the Vikings need to get moving, and that's why I'm hoping and still monitoring this Note 10 for a little do-do-dun, Vikings fire Mike Zimmer. That has not happened yet. Vikings fire Rick Spielman and Mike Zimmer, which is what we're kind of all sort of hoping for at this point. But, they're just going to frickin' wait. They're going to frickin' wait and mess it up, because that's what we do best. Cincinnati and Kansas City. Whoa, what a fun game. What a fun game. Me and Paul Tuniverse Canna for watching this one, particularly the end of it. But what a nice win for the Cincinnati Bengals. They win their division. Congratulations, Cincinnati, against all odds. Last place team for many years, struggled forever. They got their number one quarterback, stayed healthy until late in the game, unfortunately. Hopefully he's going to be all right. They're going to need him in the playoffs. Hopefully he didn't re-injure his knee too bad. Didn't look like it was that severe, though. 34-31 in an epic back-and-forth battle where Kansas City led for most of the game. But Cincinnati was able to come back and finish things off. They just could not get in the end zone. That Kansas City defense kept stopping them at the goal line. There was 2 minutes remaining, and it's luckily they were able to get a holding call against no, it wasn't a holding call. That was a roughing the passer call. Thank God, against Kansas City, which gave the Cincinnati Bengals an automatic first down. 4 more plays, so they were able to run the clock all the way down to 2 seconds remaining, which was a walk-off win for Cincinnati with a kick by Evan McPherson, rather than giving Patrick Mahomes the ball with a minute left. Well, yeah. the Chiefs would either tie it up or win it for sure, one way or another. In fact, 90% chance that was what was going to happen. But thank God Cincinnati ends up hanging on there. What a great game by Joe Burrow. Again, hoping and praying he's okay. Brandon Allen spiked the ball down with 2 seconds remaining. That's why he showed one attempt there. That was a spike. And 446 yards, 4 touchdown passes for Joe Burrow, a near perfect quarterback rating. Stay healthy, Joe. Please stay healthy, Joe. Oh, please stay healthy. Hopefully he's going to be all right. And Cincinnati will host a playoff game, hopefully their first win in many years. Jamar Chase with 266 yards and 3 touchdowns. Congratulations to fantasy ballers that may have won a championship with Jamar Chase on your roster, because I do believe this was championship weekend. Congratulations, unless last week was. Historically, it was Christmas week, but maybe now it's New Year's week. And I do hope everyone had a Happy New Year as well. Again, I'm not the biggest New Year's guy, but again, Happy New Year. It is a new year, so woohoo. Overall, great epic battle, 34-31, Kansas City. Looked like they were going to win this game handily, but Cincy said nope, and I'm glad to see that. Tennessee, they basically just said nope to Miami from the kickoff, 34-3. Tennessee wins their division back-to-back years for the first time since way back when they were in the Houston Oilers in the 60s. Back-to-back division titles for the first time in franchise history since then. Congratulations to the Tennessee Titans. Ryan Tannehill, very efficient. Donta Foreman got down that field with 5 yards of carry and 132 yards and a TD. Miami didn't show up to play, and that's all there is to say. Pardon the rhyme and the pun there. 8-8 record for Miami. That sounds about right. 11-5 for Tennessee and a chance to go 12-5. And some home football going to the Super Bowl possibly. Tennessee Titans actually thought they are a legitimate contender, and I did pick them to win that division. Las Vegas Raiders very much in the hunt at a 9-7 record, knocking the Colts down to 9-7 in a nice back and forth type of deal. An ode to John Madden, no question about it. I didn't even bring that up in segment number 1, but we can do it here. Because segment number 2 is more NFL related versus Vikings, except for talking about the Bears very shortly. And I previewed the Bears game. I don't usually do that. I apologize. That was just a mental gaffe, but it's like, whatever. We'll talk about them again. That's kind of how I feel about the Bears game next week. Like, yay. It's just a formality. That's all it is. Neither quarterback was over that great. It was overly special. Jonathan Taylor had a great day, once again, like he usually does. But the Oakland Raiders honoring, I just called them Oakland, the Las Vegas Raiders honoring John Madden nicely with a 23-20 win in Las Vegas. Very impressive win, actually, against a pretty good football team who started the season poorly and then got much better as the year progressed. Obviously, Doug Peterson's offensive coordinator, Frank Reich, leading that club and doing a great job. I wouldn't mind Frank Reich as the coach of the Vikings if he was available, but he's doing a hell of a job in Indianapolis, and Xavier Rhodes has had a nice overall season over there as well as a again, a renaissance season cornerback for the Indianapolis Colts. Yeah, Yannick Ngakoue, another sack for Yannick Ngakoue. Statistically, what a great season for him. He just gets sacks every week, doesn't he? I'm curious, how many is he at now? Hey, that's pretty much all he does. Yep, 10 sacks on the season. Great job, Yannick Ngakoue. Viking for five games, 5 sacks. he's pretty good. I like him. I don't know. It just wasn't a match here for some reason. Whatever reason that is, I don't know. But Vegas and Indianapolis, it's all going to hinge on next week, which one of those two makes it. New England and Jacksonville, 50-10. What more is there to say? Jacksonville stinks, 2-14. Looking for new leadership, of course, as Urban Meyer's long gone. Trevor Lawrence is a long way to go. It's just crazy. Mac Jones was not all that highly touted. He was like, okay, he's going to be a first-round pick, but like more of like kind of a safe pick for somebody. Where Trevor Lawrence is supposed to be the franchise quarterback of the future in the NFL. 3 interceptions versus 3 touchdowns by Mac Jones. Pretty crazy. Obviously, it just shows what leadership does. Leadership in New England versus leadership in Jacksonville. And just kind of the whole aura around you. It's unbelievable. 50-10. I mean, what more is there to say? New England Patriots are back in the playoffs, 10-6, and battling it out with Buffalo next week. One way or another, who wins that division? Tampa Bay Bucks, first place, NFC South. It's all theirs, 12-4 on the season, 4-12 Jets. And they almost lost this game. Freaking Brown lost his mind because he wasn't happy with how he's not happy with his role at the moment, and he completely lost his mind. Antonio Brown, I almost called him Troy Brown because I'm weird. Gronk with 115 yards receiving. Tom Brady, very solid game, though he did have an INT, but 410 yards. He's just still got it. I just pray to God he's not little Lance Armstrong of the NFL. I hope he's legitimate. I'm praying to God. I'm always worried about that when somebody at that age is still performing that well. It just doesn't seem normal, does it? It's because it's not normal. It's never happened before, frankly. It's unbelievable. You'd think he's 33, like he's still, because quarterbacks can still be in their prime well into their 30s, but well into their 40s? 44 years old? It's like, okay, they're almost like just kind of like an honorary member of the team at that point. Guys like, I forgot his name. Steve DeBerg, right? Yeah, it was Steve DeBerg. He was still playing like 44, 45 for Atlanta, but he was like a third string. He's just he was almost an honorary member of the team at that stage. Just kind of hanging on. Guy who played way back in the 80s and all that. But Tampa Bay, they're one of the best teams in the NFC. Will they knock the Packers off again? Maybe. We'll see. Eagles did not lose to Washington, which again, that's why the Vikings are out. Second place in the NFC East. Hanging on. The Cowboys have won that division. Washington football team, they were very competitive. It seems like yesterday they were competitive. Now they're 6-10. They're like the Chicago Bears, just non-factors. Eagles win by only 3. And people talking in Washington on Ventline how Washington Redskins fans would I just called them Washington football team, Washington W's, Golden Govers, whatever you want to call them, Washington W's, would rather have Taylor Heineke than Kirk Cousins. A, not expensive, so you don't have a major commitment. B, he's a teammate. He's a teammate. Kirk Cousins isn't, that kind of thing. And again, it's not about the vaccine. It's about the overall attitude on the field, off the field. True leadership, not like I just work here, this and that. He's, at least he is attempting to be a leader. At least he's trying, even though he clearly is he's like a third string quarterback. Maybe a okay backup, but he'd be a great third stringer, but mostly like a backup, this and that type of guy. And yeah, let's be honest, Kirk Cousins is a backup quarterback with a skill set he's the skill set of a starter, But overall, he's mentally a backup quarterback, and he was drafted to be a backup quarterback. He wasn't necessarily supposed to be a starter, but of course, guys drafted in the 3rd or 4th round. It's like it depends on how things go. It's like you draft them, and it depends on how they develop and all that. If they become a starter or a backup, which is where Kellen Mond is right now. It depends. It just all depends, and that's when Kirk Cousins got better, and he had this "you like that" moment. And of course, Mr. RG3 got injured badly, and that did not help his cause. It was just an overall frustrating moment for Washington fans at the time. But that's kind of how Washington fans are talking. They'd rather have Taylor Heineke. It's not a major commitment, and then you may have a chance that there is somebody going to be waiting in the wings the next couple of years to take over the Washington W's or the Washington Red Tails or whatever they're going to be called. Los Angeles Rams barely beat the Baltimore Ravens, who can't win a football game anymore, and they might be changing the coach. They might be, even though you'd think, why would you get rid of John Harbaugh? Who wouldn't want John Harbaugh? I don't know. Somebody doesn't, because they're 8-8. What happened to the Baltimore Ravens? Weren't they 7-2? They were, right? Like, what happened? I think they were 8-2. They've fallen off the face of the earth. I think when they beat the Vikings, they're 8-2, weren't they? Maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe they were 7-something. I can't even remember now. It's been a while. But they have fallen off the face of the earth. Baltimore was one of the best teams in the league. I think they were number 1 in the AFC at one point. Rams 12-4, and they still, they have a real chance to go to the Super Bowl. I don't think they'll beat Green Bay, but who knows? Cooper Kupp is a legitimate competition for Aaron Rodgers for MVP. It ain't going to be Matthew Stafford, which some people thought. Sony Michel, another good game on the ground. Doesn't help with Tyler Huntley at quarterback. He's just mediocre at best. Devonta Freeman, the other D. Freeman in the NFL. I always get these guys mixed up. Devonta and the guy on Tennessee, who's actually having a pretty good year. But Cooper Kupp didn't have an epic day. He had a good enough day. And the Rams win by only 1 point, but get the job done in Baltimore to be... they won in Baltimore and are 12-4. That didn't come out that well. This just keeps going, doesn't it? There's like a ton more games to go. I better move a little faster. Los Angeles Clippers. That's basically what they are now. They're still in the hunt at 9-7. Easy win over the Denver Donkeys, 34-13. Not a whole lot to say there. Not an exciting game. Drew Lock with 1 touchdown. Justin Herbert, very solid day. But generally speaking, LA Chargers get a fairly easy win over a Broncos team that's checked out, 7-9. They're basically the Vikings of the NFC or AFC right now with that 7-9 record. It's pretty much what they are at the moment. San Francisco very much cementing themselves as a playoff team, 9-7 record after a disappointing loss last week. 9-7, but very much hanging in there. Houston Texans dropped to 4-12, and still are going to be in that top 5 of the draft. Trey Lance, quarterback of San Francisco, and the health situation regarding Jimmy Garoppolo is up in the air, unfortunately. But Trey Lance, we'll see. He wasn't too good at the beginning of the season. Looks a little better now. And Davis Mills, who I have kind of discounted a bit, he was taken right after Kellen Mond, by the way. Vikings passing Davis Mills. He looks like he's actually the better of the two because he's already a competent starting quarterback as a 3rd-round pick. Good pick by the Houston Texans, actually. Davis Mills looks good. 2,363 yards, 13 TDs, 10 interceptions. Those aren't epic numbers, but he's okay. He's just a freaking rookie, and there wasn't a whole lot of hype around Davis Mills. There really wasn't, but he's doing all right. So I'm gonna stop making fun of like Davis Mills. Who the heck is that? No, he's decent. He's a nice rookie. Arizona versus Dallas. It wasn't the most exciting game ever. Arizona looked like they were going to win comfortably, but they let Dallas back in this one and luckily finished the job. They almost blew it. Crazy, but that's how it goes. Arizona's been weird all season. They will be in the playoffs, 11-5. What are they going to do after that? I don't know, but a very impressive win in Dallas, Texas. So imagine this is a playoff matchup. They would have won, so that's a good feeling. I'm happy to see Arizona win a significant game again. It's been a long time because they're kind of like what Baltimore was doing in the AFC. Like, stop losing, damn it. That they had such a damn good record. Even they couldn't screw that up and miss the playoffs completely. New Orleans, Carolina, it's almost like who cares? 18-10 victory over an awful Carolina team. New Orleans goes up to 8-8, which the Vikings couldn't even do. Taysom Hill, mediocre. Sam Darnold, mediocre. What is there more to say? Who cares? New Orleans beats Carolina 18-10. I'm just going to leave it at that. let's talk about the Bears, even though there's not a whole lot to say. Going into next week, it's a season finale. Both coaches are going to be let go after the game. Guaranteed, unless Mike Zimmer's gone right now, which I'm still waiting for. Some people might even thinking that it'd be perfect if they let Zimmer go on Tuesday, because it'd be the 20-year anniversary of Dennis Green and the Vikings parting ways. It was like a combination of fired, quit kind of, which maybe is going to happen with Zimmer, like a combination, like a mutual parting of ways, so to speak. But, because, don't be surprised if it's a mutual parting of ways. It's going to be something like that, but Zimmer will not be coach of the Vikings after next season. Matt Nagy will not be coach of the Chicago Bears after next season. So it's just two coaches, dead men walking, mediocre quarterbacks, unless Kirk Cousins plays, but he's mediocre too in a lot of ways. Mediocre with really nice glitzy numbers and a huge contract versus Andy Dalton, who's actually had a fantastic record against Minnesota. Unless Justin Fields is out there just for the heck of it, just to get him more snaps in the NFL, more experience, whatever that's worth. Because it's kind of like a glorified preseason game at the end of the day. That's pretty much all it is. It's a post-mortem season game. Let's call it that. Post-mortem season game. Both teams very much eliminated. Both coaches very much on their way out. General managers on their way out, hopefully. And maybe we'll see. They may actually have a starting quarterback in Chicago, but they want somebody to actually develop the guy a little better than the current one. It's funny. There is a better quarterback situation in Chicago at the moment, in a sense. Like, you have your veteran guy who can fill in as a backup or a starter who's not overly expensive and who's a better teammate. And they have the possible quarterback of the future. So it's a little bit better situation in Chicago, if you can believe it. As funny as that sounds. And you got Khalil Mack as well, who's a phenomenal defensive star. Guys like Robert Quinn and Hakeem as well, Hakeem Hicks. So some of those guys getting a little older, though. We'll see. But there's some talent on that defense. And getting a better offensive-minded coach who can actually develop these guys a little better than Matt Nagy. We'll see what happens with the Bears going forward. Who's going to win the game? I think the Vikings win the game. Doesn't mean anything, not really, but I do think the Vikings win the game. Maybe not, though. I mean, if Chicago shows up like they did against the New York Giants and the Vikings utterly quit on Zimmer, if he's still the coach, and they just say hell with it, there's a real chance the Vikings lose the game for that very reason. But both coaches are on their way out. They both know it, and I think everybody does. I think the general manager is gone in Chicago. And Vikings should do the same with Rick Spielman and start over with the new leadership. Make some moves. And the good part about not for long in the NFL, the rebuild will be NFL as well. If you do it right, it'll be not for long. We're not going to be Jacksonville or Detroit or the Houston Texans. Look like they might be miles away, but maybe not. Maybe Davis Mills is the real deal. And things head in the right direction soon there with a good draft pick and a good draft class this coming April and all that. Vikings, though, same thing. The Vikings had a decent draft class last year in some ways, and in some other ways they've just bleeped around. They didn't have a decent draft class, but they had a couple of guys that worked out. It was a few years ago where the decent draft class came. A couple of guys worked out, like Bynum and Darisaw with Minnesota. The other guys, I don't know. Where is Wyatt Smith? Everybody's wondering, is he Wyatt Earp or Wyatt Smith? What's going on? So not a whole lot to preview. I think the Vikings win because we always seem to win these worthless closeout games unless we're like literally trying not to get hurt, which is what the case was back in 2019. Back in 2019 where the Vikings were just playing to not get hurt. The end of the 2019 season anyway. It was 2020 already by then, January. Vikings will win the football game. Kind of a meh 24-17 victory. What more is there to say? Maybe Dalvin Cook runs for 112 yards or something and a touchdown, but it's going to be a not exciting game. It's going to be a formality, and best of luck, Mike Zimmer. Best of luck, Matt Nagy. Best of luck, Rick Spielman. Best of luck, Kirk Cousins. With all of that to say, we will now take a break and return for fan interaction.
How's it going, Joey? Hope you had a good Christmas and Happy New Year. Just listen to what Zimmer had to say in his last press conference. Who knows? I'd say he'll still coach next week, though. There's not a big point in keep firing him now and starting the search when there's one game left, unless you want to get a head start on everyone else. But yeah, a few of his comments were just pretty poor from your supposed leader of the team. The way he went after Mond when he got asked if he was going to play next week. Well, I didn't get after him. It was just a little snide comment that's not going to do any good for his confidence. I don't see any point in doing that when you got a young QB that, even if he's not performing in practices, and today we saw in his, 3 snaps, he didn't look good at all. But he's just been thrown out there at Lambeau. Like, it's a pretty hard situation to be thrown into when it's absolutely freezing as well. I just don't think... I think Zimmer's just lost the entire team. No one even looked like they wanted to be there. No one cared. No one had any energy. I know it's cold. I know it's... you're in Lambeau Field. Like, that should energise you. Like, I've played rugby in conditions where the ground's pretty much like concrete, and man, we've shown more heart than what I saw out of any of the Vikings today. Everyone just looked lethargic, and it's just so frustrating. Just another season wasted. I guess I just want to see someone new come in for Cousins as well. Just all that money being tied up in him. It's just, we can't build anything around that. I know we've got Jefferson and Cook, and Thielen, but you need everything to just be perfect for Cousins, and it's never going to be perfect. More money needs to go into that defense. They improved coming into the end of the year, and I know we've got Danielle coming back, but it's just not good enough still. We're not going to win a Super Bowl with the way the team's set up. I don't care who's coaching next year. If this is still the team, if Cousins is still on it, taking up all that money, we're not gonna be winning anything. We'll probably miss the playoffs again. I'm just very defeated right now. But the other thing that Zimmer said in the press conference, he wanted to run the ball more. Like, what are you doing running the ball when you're down 20? Like, there's just no... I think the NFL's just gone past him, and he's never been a head coach. He's always just been a defensive coordinator that's in the role of a head coach. He doesn't really know what he wants to run on the offense. He leaves it all up to the OC, and look who you got there. You got Clint Kubiak, and first year doing it. He needed someone there with him. He needed someone that's run an offense like beside him. He needed a high up second fiddle that could, play call for him now and then, because he was hopeless doing it, or just give him some ideas for play calling. His situational awareness was just so bad, and hopefully there's a full coaching change next year. Hopefully it's a new quarterback. Hopefully, I don't know about GM. I'm sort of here and there on it, but yeah, it'd be nice to keep some sort of consistency, but at the same time, what's our consistency at the moment? We finish the season near 500, but below 500, and then we miss the playoffs. It's just, I don't know. I've had enough. Time to focus on the Timberwolves, even though they had a bad loss to LA. And you can probably hear it. I'm just very lethargic and done with sport for the week. But yeah, that's all I've got to say. Sorry, got a bit rambly. Cheers, mate.
Wow, what an awesome call. Thank you very much today. That was really nice. Merry Christmas to you as well, and Happy New Year. Thank you so much. Wasn't that great? And yes, really speaking for a lot of us, just kind of not feeling good right now. Just not feeling good about Minnesota sports. Obviously, a big Timberwolves fan. Huge piece of Timberwolves explosion is Tahnae Brown. He is a pillar of that group, but he's become a pillar of Purple Mafia as well. I do think he's in the Purple Mafia Hall of Fame. Tahnae out of New Zealand. Wow. Again, speaking for a lot of us, and again, I even forgot to mention the part about the running the ball, because obviously I played it and I listened to it twice, but yeah, you know how I get off in my little tangents and such. He was even saying we should have ran the ball more. Where you're down by 20. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't add up to football. Yeah, it's like what Phil Mackey's been saying on Mackey and Judd. Like he's lost his fastball. Mike Zimmer's lost his fastball. Like he used to be really good, but he's lost his fastball defensively and just generally speaking. Like I don't know. They need to run the ball more when they're getting their butts kicked. It wasn't really working that well. I don't know, but either way. Again, like they say, 6 offensive coordinators in 6 years. He's not a good teammate. Mike Zimmer is not a good teammate. Spielman's not a good teammate. Spielman's not a good teammate. Zimmer's not a good teammate. Cousins is not a good teammate. What else is there to say, right? So yes, very much seconding your thoughts. And the Wolves could not finish the job in LA. That was not a fun night either. Los Angeles Lakers, we'll talk about that on Timberwolves Explosion for sure. That's another podcast they do. And again, Tahnae, big integral part of that one, like he is for this one. Purple Mafia show. Thank you, Tahnae. That was awesome. I don't think I even pulled up the Twitter. What the heck? At Purple Mafia show, and you'll hear more from Tahnae as well. Again, he tweeted the part about the Kellen Mond where it's like, where he's like, I see him every day, like he's not ready, or like he sucks, or whatever the heck he really meant there. Pretty cool. Yep, and Tahnae getting his recording in. Wasn't that great? Absolutely great. Retweets from Malcolm McSween out of California. Vince Germano out of Australia. And again, a call in from Tahnae out of New Zealand. Yep, Kevin McMahon retweeted when I said that might be the best player I ever saw by Sean Mannigan. I'm dead bleeping serious, and it kind of was. So that was the first pass of the game where he actually completed the pass about 15 yards. That was kind of cool. I was shocked. I'm like, wow. So nice little start, but it didn't lead to a whole lot. Tahnae Brown was saying, where were those RPOs with Cousins, though? Yeah, like the run-pass options, the option plays. Yeah, the whole season you don't really see any of that stuff. But I thought that was just Philadelphia with Nick Foles, and Doug Peterson, right? They destroyed us to that crap back in 2017. Yeah, good one there today. Mad Martin out of Northern Scotland says, I have little hope on this, and to be honest, let the 2021 season be over. Yep. Amen to that. I agree. Yep, Tahnae agrees as well as he clicked like on that one. Mad Martin says, Zimmer era ending in a whimper. So the Vikings went 13-3. And we're one game away from the Super Bowl before Kirk Cousins arrived. Since then, they've been to the playoffs once in 4 seasons. What a waste. Really nailed it there. I mean, you nailed it. And I didn't respond. Yeah, I had company, and I should have responded, though. I mean, I was seeing all of it, and I didn't respond, and I'm really sorry. I apologize for the lack of interaction yesterday. But that was really something else. Paul Tuniverse Caniff was in attendance. So, but no, what an absolute waste. Kirk Cousins was the death of Zimmer. Kirk Cousins is the death of Rick Spielman. Kirk Cousins is the death of the Vikings in a lot of ways. Not a good teammate. And again, not vaccine related. Though some of you may feel that way, and you have absolute right to feel that way. Freedom of speech, freedom of thought. Ever heard of that one? Yes, freedom of speech and freedom of thought. You have 100% freedom to think and feel that way, just like other people may feel differently. But generally speaking, yeah, was he a good teammate? No. One way or another, not a good teammate. Always deflects any type of criticism, throwing people under the bus, like, if I had time to throw the ball, I might be able to do something. I remember when he said that in 2018 in the LA game, stuff like that. You don't really forget that stuff. And then meaningless cliches like, tough times don't last, tough guys do. La-di-da. You said that 40,000 times in your career with Washington and Minnesota. Why don't you go say that in Pittsburgh or something? Tough times don't last, tough guys do. Yay. I'm sure it's tough times and tough guys and lasting. I'm glad you last on the field, but 8-8, 9-7 isn't that good. Wow, 10-6. If that's your peak, I don't think you're worth $40 million. I'm sorry. Yep, and Tahnae was asking, was I recording tonight or tomorrow? And yep, it was definitely going to be tomorrow, which is now today, which is Monday. And he was saying he'll get his recording on ASAP, and what a great job. Wasn't that a great call? Holy crap. That little bit with Mike Zimmer got about 430,000 views. So people are paying attention, aren't they? About how, it's a 16-minute clip of that press conference where obviously Zimmer was as surly as it gets. He was surly furious. Ooh, that's a plug. No, a plug for a beer that doesn't sponsor me, but oh well, it sponsors the guys in Score North. I could use a sponsor. Come on. I don't even know. I wish Bad Weather Brewing. I tried to get them, and then of course they were forced to get rid of their Wind Vein, which is a red IPA. They were forced to get rid of it. Depressing to say the least. Facebook very, very active during the course of the game. Not sure how active it got in the post-game thread. And now I'm seeing the infamous spinning wheel or the back and forth ping pong deal, and people with masks for their profile pictures. I'm not sure what the point of that is. Are you protecting yourself from Facebook users or something? I don't understand that. I don't get it. I'm sorry. I don't understand. Don't understand that one. Does it hurt me? No. As Vince Romano would ask me, does it hurt me though? No, it doesn't. It doesn't hurt me. But it's kind of weird. I think it's pointless. Boy, yeah, it's a busy thing. Yep, Mark Carlson was saying Bradbury for the Tarkington Award. I'm like, yeah, he's up there. No, he's probably third or fourth in the game summary for the reception. Yeah, he was about that, Mike Dale, out of New York State, upstate New York. I'm going to try to do this in somewhat of, it's impossible. It just doesn't want to. It never goes in order, ever. It's unfortunate, but I'll do my best. It's on all comments. Mike Dale was saying the defense was held up well. That was in the first half. But McCarthy was saying at least the defense is here to play. Yes, they were in the first half. Mark Carlson said, yeah, it looked like it was going to be a super low-scoring game, and then it just changed quickly. Boy, did it change. Mark Carlson says, this isn't good for my patience. The game just started, and there is a challenge. Yep, right out of the gate. Then it hurt us. Yep, took us from a 21-yard gain to like 11. But at least we got the first down. Yeah. Would have been the longest pass completion in the history of Sean Mannion's career. But McCarthy was saying, why didn't they get Mond ready to see what we got in him, Sean? Sean will be one good hit and done. Yeah, and that's what it felt like. But Zimmer told us. he told us, I see him every day. Okay. Mark was saying, let's go Vikings, let's win and spite the odds. That'd be a cool win and muffle this cheesy crowd. It's mostly, to shut the Packers up and annoy them a little bit. Mike Dale was saying Chris Collinsworth just referred to Garrett Bradbury as outstanding. Yeah, but he's laughing. Yeah, it is funny. He really is head and shoulders the worst announcer in football. Yeah, no, he's not good, is he? There he is. Yep, I wanted to see this one by Brett McCarthy. This was like the opener. Brett McCarthy always opens the in-game thread. I just love you, Brett, out of South Dakota. He says, Happy New Year. Skol. It's do or die today. This team needs new direction. Today is the truth of Rick and Zimmer draft talent. If anything, Kubiak needs to go if we lose today. Oh, God, does he need to go? Yes, he does. There will be plenty of former head coaches that were great offensive coordinators out there. One thing, not crazy about any of the head coaching candidates, and we need to let Cousins go and move on. Yep, nailed it, Brett McCarthy. You're a star candidate. Tahnae is a star candidate. Yep, those are two definite star candidates. Man Martin's a star candidate every week. Great comments. Mike Dale's a star candidate every week, too. A lot of you guys. Mark Carlson can be, too. Oh, man, Mark Carlson's awesome. He said, let's get this game going so I can get on with my life. Yes. Mike Dale said, I like CJ, but 4th and 3, and you want to test the reliability of your fullback's hands. Yep, CJ Ham. In 11-degree weather, F off, Zimmer and Kubiak out. Nailed it, Mike. Mike Dale says, Sean Mannion, well, if he falls flat and is as ineffective against the Packers defense as people are predicting, who knows? We might as well see Kellen Mond. At least is enticing and will boost my interest levels. Playoffs, in Jim Mora's voice. Yep. Yeah, no playoffs. It would be amazing to me if at the end of the first quarter the score will still be 3-0. Mark Carlson. Yep. It was really low scoring early, wasn't it? It was really low scoring, and it was 3-0 at the end of the first quarter. Yep. And it was really low scoring, and then the floodgates opened right before the half, pretty much. Green Bay started taking advantage of the Vikings very quickly there after a bit of a wait. Mike Dale says, how many bleeping times are you going to throw short on the sticks on 3rd down? Yeah, I hit that over and over. 3rd and 15 was a 2-yard completion, basically, or a handoff up the middle. Just great stuff. Mike Dale says, I've seen enough of Mannion's futility and Kubiak's nonsensical play calling. Jefferson has been targeted once, yet Conklin and Ham are targeted every drive. And they wonder why we can't even buy a first down. Yeah. If Mannion is over center when the half starts, I might turn the game off. And he pretty much, Brett McCarthy says, I've seen enough of this. Zimmer and Kubiak are gone. Man, they both were just sick of it. Mike Dale and Brett McCarthy had enough of this nonsense. And a lot of us agree with you. Let me tell you, pretty much 90% of us, 99% of us. Brett McCarthy offensive play calling is terrible, but it is what it is. Eric Mostard of South Dakota says, ready for the Vikings to wreck things up. By that I mean train wreck. Gerald String, Nebraska says, come on, please, mercy roll. Just kneel down for the rest of the game. Mike Dale says 3 and out to start the half. Shocker. Put Mond in. Seen enough of Sean. Mannion is nothing. He's not accurate. Mike was saying amen. Brad was saying couldn't be any worse. Jeez. Just a bit of back and forth frustrations and such. Joe McCarthy. Oh, welcome aboard, Joe. Are you related to Brett? He says, this game is a joke. I think I'll go to bed. They don't need me to watch them night all. And Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Joe McCarthy. Mark Carlson says, rest easy tonight, Joe McCarthy. I do not think you will miss the Vikings surge to score at all. Mark Carlson says, hey, Jay Mason, Chase Carlson, are you tuned in to the game tonight? And, Jay said, can't get those games here. Bummer, man. Dave Hickey says, Chris Collinsworth is a piece of bleep. He has been a Viking hater forever. Yes, he has. He has hated us forever. I agree with that. Mark Carlson says he is not even covering the game anymore. He is going on and on about stuff covering and not even covering the play. Mike Dale says, and he's been doing this since forever, but his analytics are just baffling. Every week he's like this. He's like the lazy kid in English class that didn't do his homework and read the assigned chapter of a book the night before. He just gets up in front of the class and makes silly shit up. The worst part is he's paid to not be quiet and just keeps spouting verbal diarrhea. Pretty much. But Dave Hickey says, it's about time Bradbury did something good, and that piece of shit calling work is hyping him up big time. One of the best pulling centers he's ever seen. Are you kidding me? And it's a joke. Mike Dale thought, Mike Dale says, time to check the liquor cart or beer fridge in the broadcast booth. Needs to be completely restocked after Chris puts in a shift. Gerald String was saying, go home, Mannion versus Rogers. This is a joke. Why bother to finish this butt whooping? Mark Carlson thought there was push off. Dave Hickey was sick of Rogers' smug face. Yuck and ugly. Wooded Slaughter, says Gerald String, because we Vikings signed Kyle Slaughter as if I care. They were all kind of bored with it at this point. Now we'll get to the post-game thread. There was a lot of interaction there, but it was pretty good, to be quite honest. So, okay, all comments, if I can humanly do that. Dave Hickey out of Iowa says, what a disaster that performance was. Like Mark said, they did not look like they were into it. I understand they were not supposed to win. They could have at least tried. Case Keenum might not be as accurate as Cousins, but at least the players enjoyed playing together, and they rallied around each other. Cousins might have his best stats ever and be a top 5 fantasy quarterback, but he can't rally the troops when half of the team and the coach doesn't like him. He always looks scared in the games. Yes, he does. Not confident. Again, like Mark Carlson said, there needs to be a lot of change this offseason, and for the love of God, play all your youngsters and lose this last game to get some higher draft picks, and the owners need to apply the Belichick method and unload the older players and a lot of coaches. I think Eric Bieniemy might be a good choice. Maybe Brian Billick. We were an explosive offense when we had him, and he was a lot better play caller. I miss Brian Billick. Anyways, Joey, you are at the top of your game at least, and Happy New Year to you and all the Purple Mafia faithful. And Happy New Year back at you, Dave Hickey. Nice one. Leland says, there is one more game to suffer through. Cousins really screwed this team by being unvaccinated. You could You could see just how bad we were without him. Not saying we were good with him. Time for management to do some soul searching, keep feeding fuel into this dumpster fire, or stomp it out and clean house. Be nice to get some coach with a younger analytics perspective. After watching the bowl games, I didn't really see any wonderful quarterback players. 2021 is done, and so is the Viking season. Skull Joey and Pearl Mafia. Skull back at ya. Leland. Yankee out of Brooklyn Center says, we know Kirk is not worth all that money, but our backup revealed why we need him. I don't see the point of not starting Mond unless Zimmer knows he's getting canned regardless and leaving him for the next person to develop. That's probably partially what it is. Like, I don't care. I don't care. It's somebody else's job now. Bill McCarthy says, came out flat. Play calling has been an issue all season. Was not crazy about Kubiak. Have not had a pass rush since Hunter went down. Time for a change and to put Mond in for one series. Says a lot about the coaches. That was a head scratcher. Clearly this team was unprepared. Yep. Mike Feller, Stu Evans, also from South Dakota, says, that was a disaster. Time to clean the house. Zimmer and the general manager have to go. I'm going to die before the Vikings win a Super Bowl. Oh, I hope not. I hope not. Let's try not to say die. I don't want to think about dying or anybody else dying. Eric Mostard out of South Dakota. South Dakota is ruling the roost today. He says, how bad were things tonight? The second longest pass completion for the Vikings was to Garrett Bradbury, the center, on a broken up pass. Fires him, fire Kubiak, fire the whole front office, trade Cousins. Yeah, I can't disagree with that. Almost messed up everything. That was a close one. Mark Carlson, legendary Purple Mafia member out of Iowa, says, the season is winding down. Our players look flat and unenthusiastic. Have they quit on the coach or their teammates? Maybe. I was hoping for a closer score and the Vikings being a bit of a threat. I know we were down a few starters, but that being said, there seems to be a real lack of life in the team all night. I'm looking forward to some changes. Oh, so am I in the offseason. Oh, and one last thing. Does Barr ever get to blitz the quarterback anymore? And I enjoyed the game. And I enjoyed the in-game thread tonight. It was good, wasn't it? You guys did a fantastic job. You guys really, really did a good job. That was really nice. Tahnae Brown replies, out of New Zealand, says, Mark Carlson is on the nose there, mate. Not sure. How you come out this uninspired when your season is on the line? Oh, well, we move on to a coach search, I assume, and potentially a new quarterback in front office, and I hope so. Mike Dale will wrap up this section with a big one. A big one. It's a big one. He says, sigh. I don't know who is worse. The Vikings' offensive line, Sean Mannion, the touchdown was like a sympathy lay or consolation prize awarded by the Packers' defense at that point. I'm going to take a sip of coffee, pardon me. Okay, how about a chug? That works. Okay, Clint Kubiak and his idiotic play calling, or Chris Boyd in pass coverage. Oh, yeah, Chris Boyd. I don't know. Mike Zimmer says, how many times are you going to keep making the same stupid decisions, continuing to keep implementing the same failed strategies, failing to make changes, adjustments to said failed game plan, and expecting a different outcome? You are incapable of changing the proverbial record or flipping the proverbial script. Sorry, I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul, Billy Madison. Special mention, Chris Collinsworth and his perpetual, idiotic, baseless, nonsensical comments / observations and constant drumming up of junk science stats into trying to gaslight and convince us. And I love that term, gaslight. Yep. Continuing to gaslight and convince us, the television audience, that Sean Mannion wasn't having a bad game and advocating that he should stay in despite what all our eyes were telling us. God, yeah. I'm sorry, Chris, but do you enjoy watching an offense this ineffective and useless while commenting on a game this boring? If you were wearing purple, you'd get the Christian Ponder Memorial Award, and he probably should. Honestly, I don't know how he comes across and formulates his analytics, but then what do I know? He's been doing this color commentating for years, this quote-unquote color commentating for years, while I'm just some random schmuck in front of his television, pulling his hair out, having to listen to his inane drivel just about every Sunday. Fran Award, maybe KJ Osborne. Yep, it was KJ. Garrett Bradbury, good hands in cold weather nonetheless, but pass run blocking tonight. Meh. Yep, meh is the word. Great job, Mike. Great. Keep those coming forever and ever and ever. And let me tell you, if I ever get a website that could have some writing, I think you're hired. I think you're hired right away if you want it. I think you're hired. You could be one of the columnists, bloggers, whatever, if you want. Wow, that is so good. Wasn't that good? Wasn't that something? Mike, you're a legend. You're a legend, Mike. Okay, so let's pass out the stars. Tahnae and Mike, you are bringing home the gold. Happy New Year 2022, even though it's the 2021 season's gold star. You're bringing in the gold star for this episode. Man, that was awesome. Tahnae and Mike are bringing it in. The silver star is going to go... It's going to go to Dave Hickey, and Brett McCarthy. Bronze star is going to Mark Carlson, and oh man, who did I have? Leland. Leland will get it. Okay, so great job, guys. Wasn't that fun? Oh, and Dave Martin. There. So with that said, though, great job, guys. That was really fun interaction. What an awesome and what a great call. And keep those coming today for this show and Purple Mafia if and when you have time. Dave Martin, yep, I look forward to like maybe a season wrap-up call if you're willing to, Tahnae, any of you guys. Keep them coming because they're so good. And, yeah, Mike, oh, man, you're a great writer. You really, that was so good. I love the passion. I love the emotion. I love the verbiage. And the vocabulary, that is awesome. That is so good. You remind me a little bit of, it's like a combination. I don't know, kind of like Michael Russo for the Wild, and that's a compliment because Michael Russo is awesome. Especially when he's critical, he's so good. And it's stuff like that. That's so good, man. You guys are so awesome. I mean, thank you so much. Like I say every week, you're keeping me going. It's like if my podcasting career was on life support, you are the elixir. Let me tell you, if my podcasting career, if I'm like on my way out, you guys are gonna do this.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Yep, you pulled me back in. I'm like the Godfather. I'm like the Godfather. You pulled me back in. Yep. That's what it's like in a way. But I'm not out. No, I'm not out because that would be I just think that'd be mean. I think I'd be Kirk Cousins, like kind of selfish, this and that. Again, I don't see it as the vaccine thing, but some of you do, and that's totally fine. I'm not going to bash you for that. It's definitely not for everybody, but it is for some of you at the end of the day. Again, wow, that was really good. You guys made the show today. You guys absolutely made the show. The Fran Tarkenton Award goes to you guys. Let me tell you. You guys get the Fran Tarkenton Award at the end of the day. It shouldn't even be a single player or anything like that. You carried this show regardless. I mean, look at me. I mean, I'm kind of like Zimmer now, kind of defeated, kind of tired. And I suppose all of us are. We're tired of mediocrity. We're tired of heartbreak in NFC Championship games. Brett Favre across the middle. Bounty hunter coaches injuring Brett Favre. All that bull crap, and then seeing teams like Kansas City win, it's just teams like the Dallas Cowboys win the Super Bowl back in the 90s. We just don't want to see that crap. Some of you hate Brady. I don't. But some of you do, and you have that right to do that, no doubt. And I don't blame you. I don't blame you if you do, honestly. With that said, because some of you get sick of seeing the same old crap. Like Brady to me is just on another level. That's why I appreciate him so much. He's like a Joe Montana to me. Like Montana, I can handle seeing Joe Montana win Super Bowls. I can handle seeing Brady. People like Dallas Cowboys and all their arrogance. I couldn't stand it. And they're obnoxious fans. Packer fans, obviously, yeah. I mean, winning the Super Bowl wouldn't be fun. The arrogance of the Pittsburgh Steelers in a lot of ways too. When they won, I didn't like that a whole lot either. Seattle, holy crap, did I hate that. I'm glad they only got one out of it. Oh, did I hate that. Just like the Golden State Warriors. So it's things like that drive me nuts. Yes, it's a new year, but I'm still going to go look at Christmas lights, because there's Christmas lights still up in a lot of places, January 2nd, January 3rd, and all that. I'm still going to enjoy my little My artificial tree is still up. It's not going to be up forever, but a little while longer. So, again, yes, it's a new year now. Hopefully a new team going forward, a new season next year. I'm glad that we're at a point we can be resigned to the fact that it's time to make a change. Time for change. Yeah, when you want to inspire change, I want to inspire change in the Vikings leadership. That kind of change at the moment. That's just the way I'm looking at it. With that said, yeah, I'm going to offend everybody and scare everyone away or piss them off. And it's been a weird year. People have been leaving the podcast with the Twitter account and such. I don't know if it's because I'm too negative, or they don't like my view in the world, or they're just tired of the Vikings, or it's a little bit of everything. I'm not sure. But again, thank you guys so much. Please do download the Vig It application. Download the Vig It application. It's fantasy betting, basically, so get into that. Download that. The referral for that is Paladinolive. And yes, do consider clicking on the link of crypto.com. Get on crypto.com, create some cryptocurrency, join that. They would give both of us $25 in our account. That would definitely help this show in a big way, and it would help you get started with crypto trading, because you don't need a lot of money to start crypto trading. So highly recommended. Please do call in. Again, also do write a positive rating for Purple Mafia on Apple Podcasts, Audible, or Stitcher. Any one of those would be really nice. I'd really appreciate it if you could write a positive review for the show, 5 stars. It would encourage listeners out there to download the show for the first time. Somebody new possibly out there that's looking for a Vikings podcast. Maybe something better than some of that mainstream stuff out there, or some of the other mediocre podcasts. I hope I'm not a mediocre one. Certainly the oldest podcast. I'm not maybe the oldest person behind the mic, but the oldest podcaster. Yes, the oldest podcast is Purple Mafia when it comes to the Minnesota Vikings. I'm the pioneer, damn it. But unfortunately, some of us pioneers get pushed to the side as the glitzy new guys roll in, and that's sad and frustrating, but that's how it goes. But I'm still here. I'm more like Noah. I'm not going to die that easy. I'm going to hang around for 600 years. So that kind of thing. Or Shem lived, forever too. No, Shem lived 600 years. Pardon me. Guys like that. So with that said, please do call in. To be able to do that in audio submission like Tahnae did, and did a freaking awesome job. You basically use the free voice recording smart application on your smart device, free voice recorder. You just open it, press record, treat it like a phone call. You could use even a podcast. You could even use, like recording applications on your laptop or desktop, but also your phone. Save it and email it / share it to paladinolive@yahoo.com, paladinolive@yahoo.com. With that, I will now step away, and we'll find out, as there's no news yet, but we'll see within the next week or so what's going to happen.